the first question. What is influence A and B, and why they are not a way to higher centers?
All right, so this is a very precise fourth way terminology. Influence A, B, influence C, and higher centers. So higher centers will be the result of a successful development of being or awakening and purification of the mind and the body and the feelings. So in the system, the idea is that the higher centers are like our self, the dormant self, which is there all along. It's a little echoey. Yeah, so yeah, and the fourth way, the aim of the fourth way is to activate these higher centers, which will be our the real identity, the real self, which is there, but it is dormant. That's why the fourth way, the idea is that we are asleep from the point of view of our higher potential. So I guess higher centers, or the way to the higher centers, we can use other terms, will be the way to awakening, or we can say a way to a pathway to God. It's kind of the same thing. And or the discovery of the presence of God within and without. I'm aware that the word God can be linked with religions and Catholic, but I use it in this context of a way to consciously create with the source of all creation, that which is breathing our bodies right now. You know, the fact you are listening, you are aware. There is some divine principle that is like breathing the body and created this sense of awareness and manages and sustains the whole galaxies and everything. So now A influence, in the fourth way, there is this idea that there are three influences that we can be under while being on this planet, three type of influences, and they kept it simple and precise, and actually took out exactly this God terminology, because, you know, many people understand different things by the word God, and so actually I should stick to the fourth way approach, keep it precise and clean. So three influences possible. Influence A is everything to do with surviving here, trying to make a living, trying to have money, to have a job, trying to provide for the family, trying to raise children, to be involved in politics, wars, anything to do with just regular physical life and maintenance of life, and also trying to get love, trying to find a mate, trying to be rich and famous, and all of these body ego pursuits. All of these are called in the fourth way A influence, and they are mechanical in origins, mechanical unconscious in origins, and mechanical unconscious in manifestations. Now, in order to explain B influence, I will go to a C influence. So C influence is a origin that it said that it's conscious in its origins and conscious in its manifestation. And the purpose, the aim of C influence, conscious influence, is to create a consciousness and awakening and development of being in the one that receives it. And to just give you an example, let's say, you know, say Buddha and the disciples of Buddha and the people who are listening to him, they were receiving this conscious influence from someone who was awake and more conscious, and it was teaching intellectually and also was emanating a sense of presence and a silent transmission. That's the influence. Gurdjieff, Uspensky, so any kind of teacher, Eckhart Tolle, this kind of direct influence towards someone that is interested, and this influence has an element of awakening and inspiring awakening and inner work. The important aspect of influence is that it is direct, and it is more like oral and in person or contact to contact. It's fresh, so to say, and spontaneous with from someone of a higher level of being that is assisting someone that is really interested and gives them either verbal instructions or other types of instructions for the purposes of that person to become more conscious. So that's the influence. B influence is that originally B influence is that some influence that originally was a conscious influence that was coming from a higher level of being, originally was coming from there, but gradually got disseminated in the A influence in the regular life, and then he has become now removed from its source, and it has somehow lowered in a certain way. It still contains wisdom and like wisdom and awakening wisdom, but it has been diluted. To give an example is that, let's say, whatever Buddha's words or Jesus's words that have been, let's say, translated and mistranslated, and they are now put in a book and somebody reads it. Or even somebody, let's say, like you can have some book like Gurdjieff books and Uspensky's books and all of these books, somehow the teacher somehow is no longer here, and we just had some writing, some fragments that now somebody who is interested in the work reads them and is like, oh wow, you can feel that there's something higher there, you can feel there's something inspiring, but if you try to apply them, actually it's not going to have the same effect as if you were with that person live and have the direct guidance. So it's is removed from its source and is being diluted. So there's a huge amount of B influence in our society, actually more than ever, and that's tricky also on YouTube. From one angle, this depends how it lands. Could be taken like that. Let's say somebody watches a video and then it is like, oh yeah, I got this. Yeah, I'm going to do this, and I got this fourth way thing from these videos. It's not going to work like that. It's important to actually have serious exposure and to be with someone who are going to kind of see what you understand, and you ask questions, direct questions, and you answer back, and then you need to practice. And just a video or a book, it can be diluted, so to say. So then, yeah, so A influence and B influence are A influence. It doesn't provide any guidance for awakening. Actually, is not interested in awakening, is interested in safety, controlling, recognition, getting love, approval, stability. So this has nothing to do with the process of awakening or becoming more conscious. B influence is its only function is to, for somebody interested in awakening or development of being, B influence is useful in a way that if one eats or is nourished by a lot of B influence, it forms this magnetic center, which is the part in us that is interested in awakening. And then this magnetic center, if it is strong and mature, is going to find C influence. Yeah. So the aim of B influence actually is to feed a seeker, for that seeker to become really serious and really mature, for that seeker to find a conscious source. Could be a person alive today, or a group, or something like that. So therefore, only C influence is right nourishment and guidance and necessary ingredient on the fourth way path, or on any spiritual path. Now, I mean, I know there's this idea that, well, you know, some people, it seems rare, but it is possible, is that a seeker or a practitioner has some encounter, or within a psychic space is, let's say, meets Ramana Maharishi, or meets the energy field of Jeshua or Jesus, or various other masters that are no longer in the body. I know this is possible, and that will serve as, in some way, conscious influence. This being said, it is tricky, because one can be easily deluded about this and imagine a bunch of stuff that is not real. And then one, you know, it's good to have prolonged, consistent exposure to someone or to a group of people that are seriously working on ourselves, to ensure us that we don't fool ourselves. We are very good at fooling ourselves, and yeah, that's
Yes,
an obstacle.
I agree with you. So one question about that. I mean, influence A or B, I'm not sure what it is. For example, speaking about the solar eclipse, say, or I feel so bad because of the solar eclipse, or I feel so bad because of the full moon, yes, or all these kind of things, or the astrology, that is influence B, or that can be related with influence, conscious influence. But when that can be like I mean, is related with conscious influence.
Yeah, so I would say that that is primarily B influence, especially how it is these days, a new age, you know, there's like the 25th of this, and then the lion's opening and the portal, and the higher energies are coming, and this time, and there's going to be the end of the world again, or is there going to be a new beginning of this wonderful transition of the whole humanity going towards the light? All of that is B influence, to be polite. Now, you know, there is this idea that we are a little ant here, a little tiny ant on this little planet that is deep in the ocean of the infinite. So there are these cosmic bodies that are emanating radiations, and the sun and the planets and all the planets and the other galaxies, and we are constantly blasted with cosmic radiations and emanations, and obviously they were going to influence the mind and the body and the nervous system. I mean, it's just science. So that's a fact. Yeah. So it is good to, part of the process of self-observation and self-knowledge, to observe that, oh wow, there's full moon or new moon, or maybe there is a certain type of planetary alignment, and I notice that it affects my mental state, my emotional state, my body, my energy. So that is a fact, Now, what we do with that, now it's where the spiritual rubber meets the road, because somebody walking on a true consciousness development path, then, well, this is the conditions we have. I mean, there are wars, there is complete ignorance on the social media, there is toxic politicians, there is solar flares, there is poverty, there is global warming or not, whatever is getting hotter, the polar bears have less habitat. That's what's the video game we have. So in the fourth way, it's the way of the clever man, the way of the slime man, the smart man. We are not going anywhere. We are working within the present conditions and applying the work of transformation of suffering through self-remembering, witnessing, non-expression of negative emotions, non-identification. Yeah, don't wait for ideal, peaceful conditions when the new kingdom of the new age, whatever will come. So I think I did answer your question.